It's the Playhouse Podcast with Kat and JJ.
Can't believe it. I missed everything.
Missed the show?
What am I going to do?
Check out the Daily Podcast.
You got a kid, and they're having a birthday, so you get them gifts. But do you get all your other kids gifts as well? This is apparently a big trend, and Kylie Kelsey is like, no, man, I'm not having it. So we threw it out this morning and had a lot of really, really cool reactions to this. You're going to want to hear this coming up in the podcast in a couple seconds. Here we go. Once your kids get old enough to not really be, kind of a burden or a wild card when you take them out in public, life got a whole lot better. And then you start realizing that when you hear another kid screaming in a store, that it's someone else's problem and not yours, and it rolls off you like water off a duck's back.
It really does, unless you have been in that situation where your kid is screaming bloody murder and then it's not your kid. I just I don't even think about it. I feel bad that they're dealing with it.
I laugh.
But it doesn't bother me. Childless people will be like, oh my God, get your kid under control. But you're like, oh, they'll figure it out.
With all this being said, Mariah, go ahead. Tell everybody what was going on here.
So I was at the checkout lane, and this cute little girl, though she was having a full-on meltdown.
Yeah.
And her mom was doing nothing.
Okay.
Letting her go to town. And I tried to be a bystander for a little bit, but she just kept getting worse. And so I saw the little Kinder egg that she kind of kept grasping at, and I just gave it to her.
Oh.
And though her mom had nothing to say to her, she just went off on me, saying, don't give my kid candy. She needs to self-soothe, and just totally ripped into me when her daughter is still howling at this point.
Yeah.
And so
that is, so obnoxious that she allowed her to continue on without just trying to diffuse the situation, right? Handle it when you get in the car. We do not act like that. But when you have other people being affected by it, like you, sitting there having to listen to it,
what do they call that? Is that the Ferber method, where you let kids figure it out no matter how little they are?
They cry in their crib.
Right. They cry themselves to realize that it's not a thing anymore, that they're not going to get the reaction.
That's in the privacy of their own home, the Ferber method. You do not let other people endure the crying shrieks of your children.
That is weird that she got mad at you. I get you don't want other people trying to help you parent, but clearly this person was MIA, right?
I don't mind what you did at all.
If you're in the grocery store today and a kid is just bawling their head off, that you'll give them a toy or give them a candy or something like that?
I probably wouldn't interject, but I know what I did, and it worked for my child, is I would get him something small before we started.
This is great. This is a great
story. You never agreed with that when it came to me shopping with him, but it allowed me to immerse him into the public life of learning how to behave.
I didn't disagree with it as just nothing we ever did. I would just never buy my kid a toy right when we walked in to tell him, this is for you if you can be good.
Never over $3. And we barely, went maybe once a week. We'd have to go run errands and stuff like that. I'm not going to stop my life. I'm not going to not go get groceries because I have a child with me. But sometimes, and it might be an unpopular opinion, get them something to shut them up and then do your shopping. And constantly remind them, I will put that back if you don't behave.
The more I think about it, it's not like it's not a pattern they're going to go through the rest of their life. I mean, what does your boss do to get you to shut up? A raise?
Yep.
Another day off? Something like that. It's going to happen.
Your job,
it's going to happen the rest of your life, where you're going to be gifted something just to shut the hell up and quit being such a nuisance on me. But how do you handle this as a parent? Got a couple seconds to spend on this. We just talked to Mariah, who yesterday, she's in the checkout line. There's a woman in front of her with a screaming girl, and the kid wanted, do you remember what she said? What was it?
It was a Kinder Egg.
Kinder Egg,
those brown ones that have the gift inside and the yummy chocolate.
And apparently she was just trying to get this girl to calm down, and the mom just went off on her. Let the girl continue to cry. And kind of the self-soothe thing, which, again, I think you're right when you said that's an at-home thing. You got to figure out a different plan when you're in public, right?
Yeah, you can't put other people through that. But I do believe taking your kids out young, because that will teach them how to behave. You can't just all of a sudden start bringing your kid when they're 5 or 6 to restaurants, because they're not going to get it.
Were you ever concerned about the first time you were going to take your son to Walmart and not give him a toy right as you walked in, how he would react? Because that's very Pavlovian, right? You ring the bell, the dog salivates. If every time your kid at 0, 1, 2, 3 is getting a toy the second they walk in the store, when do you cut that off?
Well, I had a good year and a half, maybe 2,
Did
where
COVID
he didn't
help?
expect anything.
Where you weren't out? You weren't doing anything?
Oh, yeah, probably saved me a ton of money.
That was probably it.
But like starting at 2 until I started to talk some sense into him at like 6, he couldn't get, so it was about 4 years.
So for 4 years, every time you went shopping, you got your kid a toy.
But it was either something that was $3 or like a slushie. Just something to bribe them with.
I get that. How's Jody doing this morning?
I was doing great until this topic came up.
Ooh, let's go.
I'm a little revved up.
What do you feel?
So I'm a little hot. So you don't ever know what is going on with that other family. You don't know what that child is going through. They could be dealing with a lot of trauma. You don't know what kind of allergies they're having. They could be a foster child, and the family could be working with them on being absolutely appropriate in the public.
So let's do this real quick. I don't want to cut you off, but how would have you handled this? You're in the line. This kid is throwing the most ungodly fit in the history of the world. You just stand there and watch?
Yeah, or I could ask the parent if they want help. And if it's really bothering that person so bad, like you said, JJ, move to a different aisle.
That's where I would have been. Like, I'm avoiding that kind of conflict.
A lot of those points put things into perspective. A lot of things that you don't think about. One, if you don't have any of those situations going on, or if you've never had kids or whatever. But it's not like she opened up the Kinder Egg. She just handed it, so no allergies were being dealt with. And I don't think the reaction of screaming at a total stranger was the right reaction.
Oh, no. I mean, clearly this woman was stressed.
Stressed out, yes. Would I have done it? No, because I just look at the long game and I'm like, she's going to be out of my life in like 2 minutes.
Jody, hey, thanks for your call. I really appreciate it. I know you're on your way to work, and I got a whole bunch of other people I want to try and get on the show. So thank you very much. It's Megan, everybody. Hey, Megan, how are you?
Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Good morning.
So I kind of am. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I kind of agree with Kat, and I kind of agree with the Jordan, I think was her name.
Oh, that just called?
So I'm a mom of 4.
Okay.
I've got 4. My oldest is 20. When I was a new mom, because I was very young, I did exactly what Kat did. I bribed him from the beginning to walk in. As my kids went on, though, I learned that was not the thing because the other 3, that wasn't going to work. So then I would just, if they would throw a temper tantrum like we're suggesting or that you did, I'd pick them up and walk out. They would not get anything. I would leave my cart right there, and they would learn a hard lesson of, if we're going to do this, you're not getting a damn thing.
Oh my God, but then you didn't get anything done.
Dinner.
No,
but then I would go back.
Without them.
I would go back without them.
Yeah.
So then they learned, like, oh, okay, if I act up, Mom's not going to bring me with. So that changed real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I like
They
it.
no longer acted up. They no longer got anything. They didn't ask for extra things. Like, and my youngest is 7. And she's the difficult one.
Off of the 4 children is obviously a lot. How many years do you think that knocks off your life by having the 4th?
Oh, my God. I'm 42 right now, and let me tell you, I feel like I'm in my 60s.
Same. Except I just look like I'm in my 60s.
So I think if I had more than one child like you did, I would not have continued on with the bribery. There's no way I could have afforded it.
Probably not.
So if you have one child,
no.
It is what it is. You just try to exist. But yeah.
Good looking out. I like it, Megan. Hey, thanks for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. Josh has been on hold forever. What do you do while you're on hold? You just listen intently, or are you doing something else?
I'm driving and listening intently.
All right, man. What are your thoughts on this real quick?
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with anybody really so far about their handling their child, but I don't have any kids, but I grew up in a daycare and I have a lot of nieces and nephews. And there's always something about bribing your kid that's going to come back to bite you, at least what I've seen. And there's always ways to get a kid to shut up. I got made to shut up. But there's this one time, it's not trying to derail this whole story, but my wife and I were eating, and the husband and wife had a kids probably like 9 and 11. And the dad, when the mom was not around, was an absolute prick to these kids. like abusively speaking to them and everything.
Jesus.
And my wife and I just sat there and ate our food and watched the difference between how they reacted to their children. When the mom got by, the dad changed. Before we left, we went up and I didn't say anything, but my wife was like, "Hey, you guys have a really cute family." The mom starts smiling. The dad looks up and she points at the dad and she says, "But the way you handle your kids when your wife is not there is completely wrong." And the whole family just was like, "What?"
Yeah. And
What?
can you imagine that all the stuff that they maybe tell their mom in confidence and she doesn't see that side of her husband? And now she's like, wow, a total stranger just told me that my husband is mistreating my kids. That might have really helped them out.
That's heavy. Is your wife, is she the one that's most outspoken in your relationship?
Yes.
Dramatic news.
I got a letter in the mail yesterday from Change Healthcare, and I found out that it starts with notice of data breach, and it says, "We are sorry to tell you about this privacy event. This letter is to make you aware of any photos or activity within your file with whoever you do medical with has been breached. Photos have been taken. Information about accounts, checking bills," and it goes into more detail about like any photos that have been taken. Like, I
how
had
many pictures?
my colonoscopy, so my shoot, those photos are
Your face
out there.
isn't in it. Who cares?
I have very.
Oh, you have a very recognizable butthole?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I have been told. And so when I saw this, I'm like, oh my God, how many people out there have photos or things that they would not want the world to see? So there's a company not too far from here, maybe like 60 minutes from here, that could, if their files were breached, like photos of me in like a paper thong would be out
so what?
with no top on.
So what?
It was like a cryo place, and I had to get like my fat frozen off. So they like put these suckers on my body and stuff like that. But I was not ready, if you know what I mean. And so I hadn't gotten waxed or anything. Like, I wasn't crazy. It wasn't like the Amazon down there, but it was still like a photo that I wouldn't want out there and would not garner me any funds on like OnlyFans. So now my head was spinning yesterday.
So
I'm like,
are you encouraging our listeners right now to just scour the internet for pictures of you in a paper thong? Is that what you're trying to do here?
I hope they're not made available,
Is
but
this the launch of your OnlyFans finally? You might as well make some money off it.
if I did ever do an OnlyFans, it would have to be like a novelty thing. There's no way that I could be seriously making.
There's enough crackpots out there.
I would say from the ribs up, I could probably make some money, you know? Okay, ribs up, shins down. I have great feet, so.
What bothers you about this breach? It was the pictures, huh? Because I'm when I read about this stuff, I'm always like, you want my listen. Any 4-year-old with a cell phone can get your information on the internet.
Yeah,
it's just that's it.
I know that my data is everywhere, and it's just if somebody wants it, they'll get it. But yeah, it would be the photos. It would be my name linked to
your
a very pink intestine. You know.
Oh, that's healthy, right?
No polyps.
Okay, good.
Always great news coming from those procedures. But still.
Wonder how many of those pictures have actually been used in other like medical journals or something else like that.
The video starts from the go, you know, the jump. So heading in, you know, and they're always like, oh, you've seen one, you've seen
this
them
isn't
all.
your
Don't
medical
say that.
provider. This is just the insurance company, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're fine. But if you don't have a lot of going on this morning and you want to scour the internet for cats.
Probably some keywords to use.
Backside.
What keywords would you use?
Colon,
curly.
Cat, radio, mornings.
Coarse. Brown.
Okay.
All right, grab that Kylie Kelsey audio for me. She is commenting on the new birthday trend that is happening where if you have a person turning 4 and they have a sibling that is 3 or 5 or 6, that the child that is having the birthday gets a gift, but then also you want to make sure everybody is happy. So you get the 6-year-old a gift and the 3-year-old a gift.
Jesus.
I don't think so.
It reduces your birthday.
Yes.
It's not their birthday. It's your birthday. And also I think it teaches them to a degree that just because someone's getting presents doesn't mean you get presents. It feels very participation trophy-esque.
Good. I feel better about this. I thought she was going to be one of these people that's like, oh, we get all our kids a gift.
So my cousin has been doing this for as long as she's had, well, her daughter is 13 and then her son is 10. And so for as long as he's been in the equation, that she's always done this. So we've had these big cousin birthday parties, get-togethers.
I hate this.
And he gets to, in the morning, open up something, and then that kind of keeps him busy for the rest of the day.
You know, the only thing I hate more is kids with summer birthdays, and then in school they get a half birthday, so they get 2 birthdays every year. I hate that.
What do they really get to do in school? They get to bring in some cupcakes.
My friend Paul had a July birthday, and he got lavished in gifts. Like halfway through,
doubt it.
It was like September. We barely get school started. Hey, it's Paul's half birthday. It's Paul. What? What do you mean half birthday? 'Cause I had an October birthday.
Yeah.
I just had a birthday. You summer birthday people are the worst.
Listen, my child is a summer birthday.
He's
July.
the worst.
He doesn't get to celebrate it at all. Never has in school. They've never celebrated summer birthdays. So it's always about other kids. But what do? You say, we'll celebrate you in July.
I've always, with our kids, if somebody has a birthday, here's how it works. Hey, you know your brother or sister's birthday, because all my kids are calendar dumb. They don't know when anyone's birthday is, anyone's anniversary. I have to text everybody, hey, it's your aunt's birthday. Wish her happy birthday. Hey, it's your mom's birthday. Wish her happy birthday. So when it's one of theirs, hey, we're having a birthday dinner. We're going to have the cake. We're going to have the presents. Get your brother or your sister something, or make something. Get them. I'm not expecting you to spend $50 on the birthday gift, but get them something. Well, I don't have any money. Here's $10. Well, how am I supposed to get? And then I got to drive them to the store anyways.
Yeah.
Why don't I just get you something to get them? Get them scratch offs. I don't care.
Yeah. But this whole making sure all the kids, that is one thing that I just can't get on board with. I'm like, this is your one day. You were born on this day, along with many others, but we're focusing on you today, and then that person will get their day.
You know, the other thing that drives me nuts? If your kid is a baby, your kid's 1, 2, and you decide to invite 45 people over for a birthday, your extended family, and extended family, and extended family, and then you don't have any beer or anything else.
Oh my God. Bring your own.
It's just it's a gift grab. Hey, 45 people, bring my baby something. What are you bringing a 1-year-old?
I legit did not buy Liam gifts for like 5 years.
You shouldn't.
Because I would have other people come with
Or
me.
you know what? You dig in the bottom of the toy box and you give them something that they haven't played with in a long time.
Terrible. But yeah. So, Dave texted that his wife does this. She will get, what does he say? I think he did speak to text.
I don't even know you, but that's wrong.
She will get gifts for all 5 of our children on one of their birthdays. I think he was just trying to say
it takes away from the birthday boy or girl so much. So Wednesday morning gave away our first pair of Darius Rucker tickets. We're going to do it again. He's going to be at the Ledge July 24th. If you'd like to go, we've got more tickets for you at 7:05 during our live show Thursday morning. In the meantime, let's put a cap on the podcast. This was refreshing to hear from Kylie Kelsey about kids' birthday parties.
It reduces...
Oh, by the way, she's talking about getting all of your kids something when one kid has a birthday.
It's a new birthday trend where you just want to keep everybody happy and not just focus on the birthday child. Like, it's not always going to be about you, so why not give you a day?
It reduces your birthday. It's not their birthday, it's your birthday. And also, I think it teaches them to a degree that just because someone's getting presents doesn't mean you get presents. It feels very participation trophy-esque.
Yeah, it's nothing's fair.
I appreciate that they're going to send 4 more females out into the world that are kind of level-headed, that are like, listen, it's not always about me. Let's focus on the person.
Tim, don't tell me you're one of those guys that gets every kid a present for one kid's birthday, are you?
No, it's not your day.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Finally,
it's
some
simple
sense.
as that. It really is. It's that conversation of when your birthday rolls around, it's not your month and it's not your party. So what are they going to do when it's somebody else's like engagement party? Are they going to go there and just talk about themselves when they're older? These are the people that you're raising.
Tim, how many kids do you have?
I have 3.
Okay, so what do you do when it's one birthday? How do you handle it with the other 2?
You know what? I don't know, because I kind of got to throw it up in the air because first 2, their birthdays are only like 5 days away.
Oh, are you the guy that like you do it? Like I have friends.
Combo?
I have friends that have Christmas birthdays or they're around the holidays and they get it all crammed into one, so they get hosed on gifts. Is that the way it works?
The first two are both in August.
Okay.
And then the third one is a Valentine's Day baby.
Oh, man.
So it's like, oh, Valentine's Day, his birthday. You gonna give me anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do your other kids expect stuff on when it's not their birthday, but it's one of their siblings? Do they expect stuff?
I mean, kids expect stuff every day.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, definitely on his day.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's a birthday. Should be all of our birthdays.
You got to lower those expectations and put things into perspective. Like when you're an adult, if you have birthdays that all land together, mine, my husband, and my father-in-law were all within 7 days. So we just all go out for
just a giant hootenanny?
That's it. Nobody gets like their special day or anything like that. So.
By the way, that Valentine's birthday is pretty convenient because it means you don't have to get anyone else like a Valentine's gift because you got to celebrate the kids first, right?
Exactly.
Oh yeah, he's my Valentine forever.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's so dopey. So I ran across a bunch of movies that they say are the most influential in shaping a generation for the millennials.
Oh, okay.
And I want to see how many of these you've seen and whether or not you could actually say that these movies shaped your life or had some kind of an impact on your life. All right, I'll give you kind of like the top three. Jurassic Park, the original one.
Okay.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did it shape your life at all?
It didn't shape my life, but I have really good memories of the movies from back like in the 90s. I felt like the acting was better, I guess. The TV acting, like you look back at like Saved by the Bell, I felt like the TV acting was better than what you get maybe on Disney right now with those kids. They like overact, you know?
Right. They act like adults almost. You know what I mean?
Weird.
It's kind of weird. Number 2 on the list was The Sandlot. For sure that shaped a lot of our lives, right?
Did you see who's the red curly haired kid, the chubby one? Anyway,
Ham.
He was just on the beach with his wife, and then they have 2 sons, and then they had like a space in between them, and they took out this pink beach chair and put it right in the middle. So
I like that. One of my favorite memes that floats around, especially this time of the year when baseball season's starting to get around, is the picture of Porter, Ham, and Mike Trout, and it says, "Here you see one of the greatest hitters of all time."
And
along with Mike Trout. And I thought that was always pretty funny. And they say the number one movie that shaped a millennial generation is The Princess Bride. Are you kidding me?
Oh, Derek loves The Princess Bride.
I've never seen it.
You haven't?
Never seen The Princess Bride.
Marriage.
Yeah, I know that part.
Marriage.
And is that Andre the Giant that's in there?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Anybody want a peanut? Yeah, he's in it. And then it's a good movie, but it's not one that I can see more than maybe twice in my life.
If you had to pick a movie that has shaped your life, one in particular out of all the movies that have ever been made, what would it be?
We watched it on our flight the other day. Pretty Woman is one of my favorites. I know every single word to it. I just love it. It's so well done, and what a great start to her career.
I saw Pulp Fiction at I was kind of, I think I was maybe like a junior or a senior in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I was actually in college by then. I can't even remember. But I remember the first time I saw that was the first time I'd ever been so shocked and moved by a movie. It was mostly because I had never seen heroin before.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that there was that subculture of the gimp and everything like that. That whole thing. That scene.
Seen heroin in real life?
Once.
You have not.
Yeah, I did.
Where were you where heroin was?
So
you've never lived a fast life.
No. When I was a sophomore in college, a couple of guys that I would hustle pool with, one of the guys was a senior, a super senior. It was his 5th year.
Yeah.
And they had this amazing quad for 2 guys. It was him and another loser dude that he knew. But he would have these parties because everybody in this section of air was all over 21. So it wasn't like they were ever going to get busted having a party.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I got there and I think people are having a beer and everybody's kind of socializing. And I'm looking around. I'm like, this, number one, wasn't really my kind of like crowd. They were just, they were really, really different. And this guy, I remember him to the day because he was like 6'7", but maybe 42 pounds.
Yeah.
Like he was the tallest, skinniest person I'd ever met. And when I'd watch him play pool, it just looked like a skeleton playing.
Yeah.
But he sits down at his table and he had like a chest that people could like put their feet up on, like an ottoman. And he pulls out a bunch of heroin and a bunch of cocaine. And he starts chopping up this cocaine.
Lord.
And he goes, all right, who's up for a bump? And I go, I got to go. Like, at that moment, all I saw was me trying to explain to my dad why I got kicked off the baseball team because I was at a party that there was a bunch of drugs at. And I was so scared. I'd never seen cocaine or heroin before, except for in the movies.
Yeah.
And it scared me so bad. He pulls out a little thing, and he puts some cocaine down. He starts chopping it up with a credit card. And then next to him was a needle and a couple of rocks and a spoon. And I was like, I have to go.
Yeah,
like,
that's always the best move.
When you're 19 years old and people are freebasing around you, like that for sure was not my scene. I couldn't be around that. But Pulp Fiction for sure shaped me.
Okay.
I want to know real quick, if you want to text us, what do you think is the movie that shaped you the most? Stupid injuries. We're going to get to them because we took this phone call like really late in our show the other day from Terry. And I want to air it back because it's exactly the kind of story we were looking for.
I was in probably 8th grade, and my boyfriend was on a hockey team at the time, and I went to watch him play his first game, and he was kind of showing off for me, and he did a really hard slap shot to his buddy, and it was at the Shakopee Arena, and I was sitting just above the plexiglass level. And the hockey puck came and hit me right above my eye and knocked me right.
Oh, my God. That's terrible. Like, do you have any, like, long-lasting...
Yeah, do you have to wear a patch? Are you looking like a pirate or anything?
No. I got knocked out, and I had to have some, like, stranger take me to the hospital because my sister had dropped me off for the game that day, and she came to pick me up, and they told her I was at the hospital, and I had to get all stitched up, and I had like a black eye, like somebody beat me up for about a week.
Oh my God. You know what this reminds me of? I saw this on Instagram. There was this adult actress who had big fake boobs, and she was at a professional hockey game, and she got hit with a puck, and one of them exploded.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Crap.
Yeah,
No
like
way.
she had to go in and get her implants like either re-implanted or changed or whatever the deal was, but like you can die from that.
Oh my God. Well, I can't believe I didn't have some type of head injury or anything worse, you know. I was pretty lucky.
Yeah, I mean, what's worse, getting hit in the breastises or in the face?
No
Dean, which is worse? Or you want to get hit in the junk or the face?
Just say neither.
Probably the face.
Probably face. Yeah, I agree, man. Like, ladies don't know how bad it is getting hit in the junk. So tell me about your dumb injury.
So this was, probably back, it was like probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
We were over by the Legion, and a buddy of mine, we wanted to bike to, there was like a parade at North Junior High, and then like the Sauk Rapids Food Fest.
Sounds like a wild day.
We rode our pedal. Yeah, well, we rode our pedal bikes there, and I had probably 6 or 7 pounders, you know, watching the parade.
Okay.
And we were riding over to the food fest, and I thought I could do a wheelie on my bicycle.
Yeah.
Over by the tech college. Stepped off the back and broken tib and fib right above the ankle.
Oh, God.
Yep.
So as a grown adult male, you decided to have 6 pounders of Coors Light or Busch Light or whatever the deal is.
I think it was Keystone pounders.
Then do a wheelie on your bike and you broke 2 bones.
Yep. Yeah. And then, so, like, some lady pulled over because, like, she saw us, like, laying there on the sidewalk, and it took, like, 3 people throw me in her minivan and right off to the hospital. I mean, it wasn't that far of a ride, but...
you end up getting, like, pins and rods and everything in that?
Yep, I got 2 screws above the ankle, 2 below the knee, and then a rod connecting the 2.
What about the loose nut behind the wheel this morning?
Meh, meh, meh.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
So since then, have you found yourself in the exact same situation? I feel like that's something you like to do.
Guys, go back to that.
Oh, yeah, so I still do.
Yeah, of course he does.
He's a risk taker.
Thanks, Dean, man. I appreciate you. I got time for one more real quick. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good, and you?
Great. We're talking stupid injuries, and you are on deck. What do you got?
All right, so this was like back in 2001, so I was going into my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
August time, me and the boys were outside playing football, and at the time I lived in a trailer park, so like there's, you know, all the trailer park kids were all playing football together outside, and there was this really big boy to say the least. And the other kids were teasing him like, you have bigger boobs than Holly does, because he was a pretty big boy.
Savage.
Aw.
Yeah. Well, needless to say, we didn't play. Play was over. I was getting up, and I had my right leg extended out, and he decided he was going to jump on it.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
He tore my ACL, my MCL, and my meniscus, so I have 2 screws in my left knee from the time I was 16 years old.
Wow.
Do you think he did that because he was mad that they were teasing him about you, or was he upset? Like, did you play a part in the malicious teasing?
I was not really doing much of it because I'm like, that's not really who I was.
Yeah.
And I just think he went after me because the kids were teasing him and they were relating him to me, and I was kind of the only other girl playing football.
Yeah,
so
Sure. Well, with all this trauma and the injuries and everything, I think the biggest question that most people are probably wondering are, were your boobs actually bigger than his at the time?
Smaller.
Smaller.
I'm going to be nice and not say anything in case there's other listeners who remember
Okay.
the story, because I'm sure there was. And I lived in the trailer park at the time, and I want to respect, because I don't want this kid to come back out and jump on my other knee and I have another knee surgery.
I'm going to let you know. You gave a lot of specifics. 2001, you described him to a T, and then you just said where it was. So I'm sure somebody knows.
Thanks. Hey, by the way, any lingering, does this still hurt you today? Like, is your knee still kind of jacked up?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got 2 screws in there since I was 16 years old. When the weather changes, it hurts. Everything else. I'm 39 now, so.
What a bummer.
Yeah, what a life you've lived, Holly.
Where's he at? You creep on him on Facebook?
Nope.
Lies.
Probably not hard to find.
I'm gonna.
All right. Thanks, Holly. We appreciate it. You got one to go with us? All you got to do is holler, okay? Today, I want to know about the time a family member really embarrassed you. And I'll tell you where this is coming from. My daughter, I had lunch with her the other day, and it was her birthday, and she had texted me yesterday, remember when you got kicked out of the baseball game? And then I yelled, "That's my dad. He's on the radio." So here's how it goes down. My son's like 11, and I'm coaching this team, and it was clearly the wrong call by the umpire. It wasn't even like a judgment call. It was just the wrong rule. Like, he didn't know. And a lot of times in youth baseball games, you get maybe teenagers that umpire the games or younger adults, and they're really not so schooled. So this play had happened, and I calmly walk out to him. I call time. I walk out to him, and I go, "That's not the right call." I said, "The rule reads this way, and you missed it." And it was super calm. And he goes, "You're out of here." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding
Did you
me."
say this was a kid or it was
He
an
was
adult?
maybe like 19 or 20, right? So like kind of in that range where you got testosterone flowing, and it's your field, and everybody came to watch the umpire, right? And he goes, "You're out of here." And I'm like, "You're kidding me." I said, "Stop. This isn't about you." I said, "This is just about getting the call right. You can change the call, and you can get this right so that the kids have a chance to play the game the right way." And at that time, my daughter goes, "That's my dad. That's JJ from the radio." And like the whole, you're right. You're like, I was just like, my God. So I didn't know which I was more mortified about, getting kicked out of a kid's baseball game or having my daughter like have that be a proud moment for her. Like, "That's my dad. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm looking for really, really great times that maybe a family member embarrassed you.
Okay. So mine, I am not embarrassed easily. I think the last time I was like red in the face was when I was at the state fair and surrounded by some honeys, and I was working it. I think I was like 13, and I was with my friends, and my mom and her friend thought it would be
real
really
quick.
funny.
What are you wearing at the state fair?
Oh, probably just some jean shorts, maybe like the same Abercrombie shirt that I wore 8 days before, like in a row. It was the only one I owned. And so we were sitting there, and we're like, "Oh, what ride do you want to go on? You want to go the Midway, blah, blah, blah." And my mom's like, "Hey, do you need a tampon? Do you want the supers, or is it a light flow?" And she and her friend thought it was like super funny. I'm like, weird. What a weird thing to come up with to yell across the state fair.
It is very funny, actually.
And all the boys were like, "Oh, no." Like, she just burned me. And I'm like, oh, wow. So my friends and I just walked away, heads hung. And I was pretty embarrassed.
Family can be the worst.
Yes.
I wish I could tell the best story. My dad we'd go to the mall shopping, usually for my mom and my sister, especially around Christmas time. And my dad would walk up to the weirdest looking person.
Yeah.
And go, do you know my son over here? You guys look so much alike. I just thought maybe he would do stuff like that.
What a nice
and it would
guy.
be the most embarrassing thing. Ashley, you got a good story for us?
I have a real good one for you.
Okay.
My dad was my high school health teacher.
Oh, no.
My God.
Yeah, it was a real rough time. My older sister had it worse, though, because on the first day of class, she got to her name on the attendance list and was like, I think I had sex with your mom.
Winner!
Oh, my God.
Winner! Yeah!
That is amazing. If he didn't do that, I would be disappointed.
You do that now, you probably get fired.
Probably.
Paul, what do you got for us, bud?
I had a 3-year-old daughter embarrass me at the barber shop.
All right, let's go.
So I'm getting my hair cut, and the lady says to my daughter, she says, "What's new, honey?" My daughter says, "Oh, nothing much. My mom's pregnant."
Oh.
And she said, "Oh, that's nice." Yeah, she said, "That's okay, but my dad's got a new girlfriend."
Oh.
Yeah. Here I have a whole bunch of women looking at me, the lady with scissors.
Right.
I said, yeah, that's my ex-wife. We were divorced like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
She's remarried. Her husband and her are happy. They're having a
Right,
Tell
like
the
if you
whole
don't put
story.
if you don't put the content into that,
Exactly.
you're getting
and
a bad
kids
cut.
have no filter. Like, why would you ever tell a kid a secret?
I got time for one more. Laura, tell us about it.
So way back in middle school, and I'm in my early 30s, so it's been a while. My mother took us all to McDonald's. Me, I had friends, my family. She had a fart machine.
Oh.
No way.
She threw it in her back pocket and then gave one of my friends the remote control and went up to go order and then kept pretending like she has just the worst gas.
The fart
It
machine
was super
is
awkward
it.
and embarrassing.
Yeah, that's it. I like the fart machine, Mom.
That's something. My mom was pretty young. She was a young mom, so she would do stuff like that. My sister had gotten like this little, it was in the shape of a ladybug, but it was a bug. You know, like the CIA would bug your house.
Oh, okay. So she could listen in?
Yes. And they did. And they put it underneath my bed. And so when I was like on the phone, you know, the cord wrapping around down the hallway into my room, they were like listening. And then they'd start, you could talk back on this bug. So they'd be like, oh. So, yeah, they were always menacing.
Your family pulled a good one. They embarrassed the hell out of you. What's your story?